Hi, Maria. Can you hear me? And hi, Courtney. Ooh, we're getting lots of people. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
Hi, Katricia. Oh, you can't hear me yet. Hi, Katricia.
Good afternoon, Professor Short.
How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Good. I'm doing well. Is your name pronounced Katricia? Is that right?
It's actually Katricia.
Patricia. Okay.
Yes.
I like to make
Thank
it
you
that
for
way.
asking.
Oh, sure. I hate it when people mess up my name. Just writing that down.
Thank you.
Sure. Katricia. Okay.
That pronunciation was perfect.
Oh, perfect. Good. Good. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I love this little picture of you that you have.
I don't know who's gonna come up.
Uh,
I'm using my Google account. I didn't know my profile picture would switch over like that.
well, it's really good. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Hi, Courtney. Hi, Maria.
Hello.
Hi. All right. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Sorry, trying to see what my dog is up to. Okay, well, let's see if we get maybe a few more people. But for now, oh, and I am recording this just to let you know, in case there are people who wanted to come but can't and want to see it later. So yes, I'm Professor Short. I'm really happy that some of you are here. I thought maybe nobody would show up. So that's really good. And maybe I'll just take a couple minutes here to tell you a little bit about me. Really, the only thing about me is I love reading and I love writing. So, which is good for you because I'm really good at those things and I can help you improve your writing as well. I'm trying to see if my dog's at the door. Hold on one moment. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I have an elderly dog here, so she has to go out at odd times. Yeah, so I was telling you, I love reading and writing, and I love helping people improve their writing. So to that end, let's see. So we have our first, our essay one first draft due this week. And actually give me a moment. Hold on. All right. I should have brought this up already, sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so here we're just looking at the essay one preview that I put in the preliminary information module. So you can read through the turn it in information. That's just for the final draft. You don't need to worry about that for the first draft. But this is a literary analysis essay. So you're going to practice arguing a claim about a work of short fiction, and you're going to choose one of these. What we talk about when we talk about love by Raymond Carver, Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been by Joyce Carol Oates, and The Company of Wolves by Angela Carter. So first of all, did anyone have any questions about anything having to do with this essay? Yeah. Okay, so hold on. All right, so this part is important. Consider the list of topics in literary studies on pages 44 to 47. And those are things like gender, ethnic background, social class, sexual orientation, divisions, conflicts, and multiple forces within the self, boundaries, politics and ideology, carnivals and other festivities, distinctions between what is universal and what is historically or culturally specific, relations between the public and the private, the social and the personal, relations between high and low culture, the role of performance in everyday life, religious values, desire and pleasure, the body, memory, and material things. So there's a lot to choose from. And I also asked you to consider those issues of literature. So those were topics, and then issues are pages 62 to 67. So let me look at those really quickly. Issues of fact, issues of theme, issues of definition, symbolism, pattern, evaluation, historical and cultural context, genre, social policy, issues of cause and effect. So that's a lot for you to consider. So I would kind of read through those, and then if you haven't already, decide which of those stories you're going to want to write about. So it will be to your benefit to read all three of them before you choose one. And you're going to use one of those topics or issues to formulate your claim. And your thesis statement must use a topic or issue to make an argument about the chosen story. Katrisha, did you have a question?
Yes, Professor Short, thank you. I was wondering, do you think it would be helpful to follow the bullet point outline on page 22 when we're writing our first essay? I'm speaking about The, let's see, I'm looking for the header, I apologize.
That's okay.
It's first focus on how a reading fulfilled or defied predictions, and then consider how it matches
Okay.
or diverge from personal backgrounds. That list, would you consider that helpful for this writing assignment?
It might be helpful to, because that list is for close readings of a poem.
Yes.
And it might be helpful to think about how the story fulfills or defied your predictions, how the story matches or diverges from your personal backgrounds and all of those things. I would not use it as an outline for this essay though, because this is kind of just those bullet points are meant to get you thinking about a poem, or they can be used for any work of literature, but they're not necessarily an outline for an essay, but they are really good for helping you think about the work of fiction that you're going to be writing about. So I would definitely, if you think that those will be helpful, I would definitely consider those, but you don't need to use those as an outline.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, sure. All right, so I put an example thesis statement here. And this has to do with the story Bog Girl that you were also reading this week. So if you have read that, this will make more sense. And Bog Girl is not one of the choices that you have for this paper. But I figured since everyone hopefully is reading it, this will help you get an idea of how to formulate your thesis statement. So my thesis here is Cillian's newfound confidence as he becomes more comfortable with Bog Girl is simply a convincing act. The awkward teenager from the beginning of Bog Girl becomes bolder throughout the story, but his crumbling at the end suggests that Cillian has given a performance that is shattered by reality. So notice that this example thesis relates to one of the topics of literary studies, the role of performance in everyday life. And it's also debatable, which we want. And we just consider something debatable if it's a claim that people might disagree about. So maybe you decide you're going to write about what we talk about when we talk about love. And you think that, let's see. And maybe you'll write about desire and pleasure in that story. Or maybe you'll write about material things in that story. There's a lot there with them drinking the alcohol. So I every time I read it, I think it's really interesting. It might be something interesting to write about how the role of alcohol in that story. Or maybe you've chosen where are you going, where have you been as your story. And that seems to have relations between high culture and low culture, in that the girl is higher culture sort of than Arnold Friend. He's more of a low culture, kind of not a great moral character, but so you might write about that. Or relations between the public and the private, because he's trying to get into her house. So he's trying to cross that boundary, or have her come out. So crossing from her private world to his. Let's see. So that's kind of what I want you to do with this. So go through those topics and issues and see if you can figure if any of those might apply to the story that you've chosen. And then remember, you're making a claim about it. Like in this example, the claim is that Cillian's confidence is just an act. And notice this thesis statement, the sample example one, is 2 sentences. And usually the thesis is 1 sentence, but it can be 2 consecutive sentences. Just if putting it all in 1 sentence is just too much, it's okay to split into 2 sentences. So then, yes, Katricia. Oh, you understand that. Okay.
Yes, that was just a thumbs up.
That was the thumbs
Professor
up.
Short,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay, good. So paragraph 2 should be a brief summary of the story. So you don't need to include too many details. You don't need to retell the story, but include enough details so the reader understands what you discuss in the essay. So assume that your audience is familiar with the plot. Maybe they've read it before, but they might need to be reminded of certain points. And then support your claim with textual evidence from the story. And that's really, really important. In this note about quotations, remember you may paraphrase or put in your own words, summarize, and or directly quote. So in most types of papers, writers generally should avoid quoting excessively. But when we're writing about literature, it's a little bit different. Because, as I put here, we should use quotations when language is especially vivid or when the language is the topic of discussion, as it is often in literary analyses or interpretations. So in a literary analysis issue, you might find yourself quoting from the story more than you would in an essay that's not about literature, and that's totally fine. Just don't go overboard. Let's see. So what I'm looking for when I grade this is a clear, specific, arguable thesis statement that makes a claim about the use of a literary topic or issue in the story, well-crafted essay structure, including introduction and conclusion. So you have an introduction paragraph, a conclusion paragraph, limited plot summary in that second paragraph, smooth transitions throughout. The summary paragraph needs to follow the conventions of a summary. So a summary is paraphrased, it's in your own words, and it only gives the main ideas, and it doesn't really offer your opinions, because the rest of the essay is going to offer your opinions. So you don't need to do that in the summary. The summary is just saying, what's the story about? I'm really always looking for supporting textual evidence from the story and analysis of that evidence. That is a big thing with me, because I think that that is one of the keys to really strong writing is evidence. So if I were writing about Bog Girl and Cillian's confidence as a performance, maybe I'll include a quotation from the story. I don't remember what page it's on now, but I would include a quotation and then I would discuss it, analyze it. Let's see, and reasoning that avoids the use of logical fallacies, like hasty generalizations, or even just like not giving enough evidence. Then consistent point of view and verb tense, smooth transitions between points, virtually no errors in grammar, punctuation, and spelling, and correct MLA manuscript format, including in-text citations and the works cited page. And notice I said up here somewhere, please do not consult outside sources for this paper. So the only thing that is going to be on your works cited page is a works cited entry for the story. Because for this paper, I just want to see how well you can analyze a story yourself. I don't want you to bring in other sources. And then please include the word count, like under your name and the date, etc. Use mostly third person point of view or first person plural. You may use first person singular, which is I, me, my, or mine, only as needed, such as in a personal example. But this is a literary analysis essay, so you're probably not going to be using personal examples. So if you're using I, it's likely that you don't need to. You can probably say it using third person or first person plural. And don't use you or your or yours. Try to stick to present tense verbs. So the character says instead of the character said. And then, let's see. But if you need to shift to past tense in order to make sense, then that's fine. But just mostly stay in present tense. And then this is talking about the works cited entries. So these are the core elements of a works cited entry. So author, title of source, title of container, and so on. So if you've chosen What We Talk About When We Talk About Love by Raymond Carver, the author's Raymond Carver, the title of the source is What We Talk About When We Talk About Love. The title of the container that your source is in, that's going to be the title of our textbook, Making Literature Matter. Other contributors is referring to the textbook. So that's who are the editors, and their names are on the front of on the front cover. Version is going to be the edition of the book, so 7th edition. Number, we don't have one, so it's usually for periodicals. publisher. If you look on these first few pages of the book, you'll see the publisher is Bedford St. Martin's. Publication date, just the year. And if you look at these first few pages that have all the tiny prints, that's where you look for that kind of stuff. It says copyright 2018. That's the most recent one. So use that one. Location is the location of the source in the container. So the source is the story and the container is our textbook. So because this is a print textbook, I'm going to use page numbers for the location. So let's see. So if this is my entry on what we talk about when we talk about love, at the very end, I'm going to put pages 533 to 542. And then this just kind of goes through all of that and says basically what I just said. Any questions on any of that? No. Okay. Have any of you decided which story you're going to write about? Or not quite yet?
I have a question,
Okay.
but it doesn't really pertain to the essay, if that's okay.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
For the WRC lab assignments,
Mhm.
we complete them and we submit them, but for each one you want us to meet with somebody and have them sign them off?
Yes. And I think they're switching everything that's in person back to online for right now, just for the winter. So I don't think that you would be able to go into the writing center, the physical building. So you would be doing it online. So, so for example, for a DLA, you would download it and do the DLA. And then during the hours that instructors are available in the virtual writing center, you would go on there and you might have to wait a bit, but they'll get to you as soon as they can. And then you just kind of say, well, I have this DLA. If we could go over it, please. And they'll say, sure. And they look at what you wrote and then they talk about it. And if you had problems with it, they'll help you out. If everything seems to be correct, they'll tell you, and then you can't get their signature because you're online. So I just ask that you write down the instructor's name and the date that you're meeting with them. And then for a DLA, just write a couple of sentences talking about what you discussed with them. And then you would turn that in. I call that the log and description. So that's just the name of the instructor and the date, and then those couple of sentences. You can put that in a separate document or somewhere in the DLA document if you want, but you would turn those in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
And those are due, well, the week 1 ones are due tonight, right before midnight?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. All right. Since we're talking about other things, did anyone have any other questions about anything other than this essay?
So we get a hold of the lab through Zoom too?
It's not through Zoom. You go to your dashboard on Canvas, and it's actually through Cranium Cafe, which is similar to Zoom. And unfortunately, I don't have it on my end, so I can't really show you what it looks like, but it will usually have a knock on door feature or something like that.
Oh,
Something,
okay.
yeah. And then one of the instructors will let you into their lobby. And
I'm
speak.
sure I could figure.
Yeah, it's probably pretty intuitive. But yeah, so once you have done the self-enrollment in the WRC, then it'll be on your dashboard in Canvas, and you just go there, click on the virtual writing center, and you'll probably be able to figure out how to speak with an instructor.
So we get the assignment from you, do it, and then give it to them and do their assignments as well, or because I saw a few assignments they had.
You're just getting the assignment that I give you. So
Oh, okay.
let me look at this. Okay, so here's our week 1 assignment. So you watch these videos, and then you have 2 DLAs. So
Mhm.
you can download them here, do them on your own, and then you just go on to the virtual writing center and meet with an instructor and ask them if it's okay to do 2 DLAs, and it probably will be. Unless they're really busy, they might limit it to 1, but and then you're just going to go over your answers with them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, you're not getting any assignments from them. You're just going over your responses and your answers with them, and they're just going to help you and make sure that you understand everything.
Alrighty, cool. Yeah, I was a little confused. I'm like new to this.
Oh, that's okay. No, I understand. Courtney, did that make sense? What I was saying?
Yeah, it did.
Okay. Okay. This is good because I'm gonna make this available to everyone else, this recording. So I think a lot of students probably have similar questions. I tried to explain it really well in writing, but it can be a little confusing, especially if you have not worked with the Writing Center before, and especially if you haven't done it online before. So yeah, so any questions you have, that's fine. It can get a little confusing, so.
I have one more. Sorry.
Sure, that's okay.
Just like in case we're not able to, for whatever reason, get somebody to meet with us, are we still allowed to turn it in for partial credit, or?
Yes, yes, you are. And if something comes up, and this goes for any assignments, if you have some issue that comes up, or your computer breaks, or someone in your family has COVID or something like that, just email me or send me an inbox message. Just let me know, and we can work on, maybe I can extend the due date a day or so to help you out. So the due dates are important, but I am flexible if you have issues that come up. And if for some reason you can't meet with an instructor, talk to me about it, and I'll see if we'll probably be able to extend your deadline briefly. But yes, you can. I would still definitely turn in the DLAs. I just take off a few points if you don't have the log and description. But that's better than getting 0 points. So definitely turn it in.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions about the Writing Center or anything else? No? Okay. All right. So we went over, let's see.
When will your next Zoom meeting be? Just for like help it. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll probably do one for each essay. So,
So
so
almost like bi-weekly.
yeah. So so the essay 2 first draft is going to be week 3. So I'll probably do one like this during week 3. But if you want to discuss something, I can do a private meeting with just you if you want, whenever is convenient. We can figure out a time that's convenient for both of us. So I'm perfectly willing to do that as well if you think that you need that.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm probably going to need to.
Okay, that's okay. That's great. So yeah, totally willing to do that. Yeah, I just want to help you get through. And this is, this is a 6-week class, so it's really intensive. So,
Yeah.
so I'm happy to help however I can. As usually we do this class in 15 weeks, and here we have 6. So I understand if it can be a little difficult. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything else? And if you think of something else later, you can always email me or send me an inbox message. Over here, there's Pronto that somehow lets you text me, so I'll get it on my phone. Or the chat. I haven't really used the chat, but oh, that's here. But I'm sure I would figure it out. So you can contact me in any of those ways. And I check here at least once a day, probably more, but just to kind of see if there are any questions. So I should get your message pretty quickly if you think of something else. But if you don't have anything else right now, I will, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing. All right. So no other questions for now? Okay. All right. Well, let me know if you have any questions, if you think of anything later. And we'll still be working on essay 1 next week as well. It's due at the end of next week. So there's still time for you to ask me anything about it if you start working on it and then get kind of stuck. But I will let you go now. And thank you so much for joining us. And it was really nice to meet the 4 of you, now 3 of you, but meet all of you. That was really nice. And that's about it. So, so you're free to go, and I'm going to end the meeting. But again, let me know if you have any other questions. Okay. All right. Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Hopefully I'll see you all again next time or at some point. Thank you, Maria. You too. Okay. Bye, Michael. Bye, Courtney. Okay.